The sun is setting, the cars are lined up and ready to battle on the fastest racetrack on the ARCA Tour. It's ARCA live on Fox Sports 1 from Michigan International Speedway.
It tests you, pushes you. That will to win, to be the best, to do what no one believes you can do. It gets inside of you.
Infinger's going to try to make the pass as they come into the tri-oval.
You just can't shake it. So week after week, race after race,
Schrader trying to take the top spot away.
you make your move, survive the rough stuff,
Spinning coming out of turn number 4.
and if everything works out just right,
Bob Hessert wins at Talladega.
you live up to it, if even for just a moment. Today at Michigan International Speedway, you have another shot.
An hour outside of the Motor City of Detroit sits the Irish Hills of Michigan. And that's where you find Michigan International Speedway and speeds up around 200 miles an hour. It's the Michigan ARCA 200. Pretty day for racing as the sun starts to set. Big white puffy clouds in a blue sky and warm temperatures in the air. And the speeds are going to be high for sure here today. Cars are lined up, driver introductions wrapping up, and it's time to meet the people who'll be covering the action for us down on pit road. We kick it off with Wendy Venturini.
Thanks, Ralph. Will it be experienced veterans like Frank Kimmel and Kenny Schrader to take the checkered flag, or will it be the young guns, the first top 6 starters here in the ARCA field? The average age of them, 20 years old, and the average age of the last 3 winners here at Michigan, also 20 years old. It could be the young guns teaching a thing or two about the veterans here in the ARCA series. Who's going to take that checkered flag at the end of the day, Jim Trado?
And one of the cars in those top 6 positions in qualifying was John Westhaley. I'd say was because he had a very fast car last week at Pocono, if you saw our coverage here on Fox Sports 1. But that very same car was turned around for this week, but he was fast in practice, and it came down to qualifying. And take a look on the screen here. This is the qualifying lap number 2 for John Westhaley and his number 15 Zaxby Toyota. Hard impact into the number 2 wall. As he exited the corner, I asked him what happened. He said the car just snapped loose. Don't know if a tire was going down or just something went awry mechanically. So this Zaxby Chevrolet is a car that he was in last year in Kansas. I asked his crew chief, Brad Parrott, how close is it? He said we had to change a left for a spring and a carburetor. We came prepared with a second car, but it may not be as good as our first one. They'll go to the back and see how good it gets through the field. Guys?
All right, Jim, thank you. Drivers are getting buckled in. We're getting ready to go racing. We're going to throw the green flag when we come back to Michigan. Back here in Michigan, beautiful day to go racing. Been a little windy and a little cool actually here for June temperatures.
It's a little bit cooler today than it was yesterday,
Yeah.
and we saw some fast speeds yesterday in qualifying as well as in practice.
We'll have to see how that wind affects the cars today too, as they're racing speeds close to 200 miles an hour around this Michigan International Speedway. Blazing fast racetrack.
So
Next thing to do is
young man right there that's been fast all year long,
yes.
Ralph, Mason Mitchell.
time to start the engines up. So let's head down trackside for our command to get this race underway.
Race fans, it is time for those most famous words in motorsports. Here to give the command, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Louis DeAngelis.
Can I go? Gentlemen, start your engines.
Great job, Louie. Way to get those engines cranked up and ready to go racing. Hi, everybody. Ralph Sheen alongside Phil Parsons as we're all set to go racing here in Michigan. Now, this racetrack, because things are so fast, and it's going to go quick, 100 miles here, boy, or 100 laps, I should say, you don't want to make many mistakes on pit road today.
No, not at all, Ralph. You're going to be coming off that corner at 180 miles an hour, and you're going to have to slow down to pit road speed about 55 miles an hour. We saw some mistakes last week at Pocono. It's very challenging, especially when you make green flag pit stops. That's what we saw last week at Pocono, and that's what a lot of the guys down in the garage area are talking about, making green flag pit stops right there on pit road.
Speaking of those speeds, Phil, it takes a little bit for a driver to get acclimated to how quick you're going around this racetrack, doesn't it?
It really does. And you mentioned earlier, this is the fastest racetrack that this series races on here at Michigan. Faster than Daytona, faster than Talladega. And the real trouble spot is over in turn 2. You get zinging through turn 1 and through the center one. And that exit right there is a little bit tighter because we have a dog leg on the front stretch, actually the tri-oval on the front stretch. So this corner is a little bit tighter. That's where we saw John West Townley have trouble in qualifying. You guys, if you don't have it aimed right, you're going to push. You have to get back out of the throttle, or if the back end wants to come around, you're going to be in serious trouble like John West was.
And here's a look at our front row. You were talking about Mason Mitchell did such an outstanding job a week ago at Pocono. Almost ran down Kyle Larson.
How about Austin Theriault, his first ever ARCA Racing Series start, and he qualifies in the 2nd spot.
Let's go now to our Menards Pole Award presented by Ansel. Here's Wendy Venturini.
And the Menards Pole Award presented by Ansel was won by Mason Mitchell, as you just talked about, Ralph. That was his 4th career pole, his first here at Michigan. He was able to give Kyle Larson a run for the money. If you remember watching last week at Pocono, I spoke with Mason right before he climbed in the car about the motivation that gives him for today.
It definitely carries a lot of momentum, just taking away the lead there from Kyle for a little bit and, kind of shocking everybody. But we have a really good car here at Michigan, and I'm looking forward to it. Got a good starting spot, and we'll have good pit stops, and hopefully we have the Thermal Technology Services, Musselman's Applesauce, Ford Fusion, and Victory Lane.
Now, Mason Mitchell has been in position to win several times, including this season. He has 4 second-place finishes in the last 9 races, but Mason Mitchell would really love to get to Victory Lane today in Michigan.
Menards Pole Award presented by Ansel. Let's take a look at the last race. And everybody was chasing Kyle Larson, weren't they, at Pocono?
Yeah, really from practice on, it looked like Kyle Larson was going to be the guy to beat. But late in the race, we had a restart. Mason Mitchell was able to get by Kyle Larson on that restart. And you can see his crew pretty happy. But Kyle Larson fought back, got back by Mason Mitchell, and went on to win that race.
Yeah, but he also said he really had to drive hard to earn it, too, didn't he?
And that's how it should be.
Absolutely. Cars rolling out onto the speedway. Behind the pace car, getting ready. It's like a 2015 Ford Mustang pacing the field here today.
Looks like Mason Mitchell, the pole sitter, has chosen the outside for this initial start.
Let's take a look at our Scott Brand Rookie Challenge Spotlight with Jim Trado.
And Mason Mitchell, by all means, is a rookie team owner. You know what? This kid in December said, I'm making up my own team. He literally lives at the shop in Mooresville, North Carolina, and as he's our Scott Rookie Challenge Spotlight, it's more about him as an owner and maturing as a driver. Just at age 19, this young man put together a team. They have now built 5 brand new race cars in their shop. They are working on chassis number 6 to match this race car because they like it so much for these intermediate tracks. This young man has a lot on his plate, but certainly worth recognizing. He's the only driver this season, guys, that has a top 10 finish in all 7 races run thus far in the ARCA Racing Series this season. So I think this young man should be in the spotlight a bit more, and I know he's starving for that first victory. He thinks it may come today with that very fast Ford.
Starting grid from Menards at the top of the screen, showing you where everybody's lining up in the field today. The 52 of Ken Schrader here as well. Good to see Ken back.
Yeah, it's been a long time since Kenny ran a super speedway race in the ARCA Racing Series, but whenever Kenny Schrader tees it up, you know he's going to be competitive.
Well, we're going to have the green flag when we come back. You know, the great thing about Twitter is you can hear from your friends all around the world. Our buddies from Skid Row in Belgium said, we're watching the ARCA race, so let's kick the tires and light the fires when we come back, boys. Ready for the start here of our 100 lapper from Michigan International Speedway. Here's that Menards starting grid again. Let's go through some of the onboards we're going to have for you today. We've got 5 different driver perspectives for you, beginning with Spencer Gallagher in the 23.
We're also going to ride along with Cody Kaufman. He had a top 10 in his super speedway debut last week at Pocono, and he will start from the 6th spot in his Jegs Toyota.
Justin Boston is in the 25. He had a real good run going a week ago at Pocono as well. He's going to carry some cameras for us.
We're going to ride along with Austin Wayne Self in the 22 car. He was third at Talladega earlier this year. He starts fourth in his AM Technical Solutions Dodge.
And the driver who is chasing Kyle Larson all the way to the line a week ago in Pocono, Mason Mitchell. Starting on the pole here, trying to right what I'm sure he considers a wrong from a week ago. Let's head down pit road once again. Here's Jim Trado.
Well, one driver I want to say in the spotlight is making his debut here. It's the number 66 of Austin Theriault. Flashback 2 years ago, this car led the first 59 laps with driver Brennan Poole behind the wheel. Very confident setup, very comfortable car, but it's his debut, and he's never raced at a track bigger than a mile, so he qualified well. He's hoping about lap 50 or so to know what his car has and be there at lap 100. Wendy?
I want to spotlight recently turned 59-year-old Kenny Schrader. Ken Schrader has 17 wins in the ARCA Series in his 66 starts, but hasn't raced on a speedway since Nashville 2001. He's doing so because Matt Tifft, his regular driver, doesn't turn 18 till next week.
Ready to go green from Michigan. 200-mile-an-hour speeds, 100 laps around the 2-mile over, and we're racing live on Fox Sports 1.
Nice jump by Mason Mitchell. He had the 66 of Austin Theriault right behind him, pushed him out in front of the inside car.
Oh, Coughlin is up high in the Jegs car, that bright yellow machine. Got to be careful up there, Phil. Gets pretty loose up in that stuff.
Certainly does. We haven't seen anybody up there. A lot of debris up there. How about Justin Allison, that 88 car, going 3 wide to get a couple spots?
Kimmel right there with him in the 69. Will. Takes you a minute to spool this car up, doesn't it, around this big oval?
It really does. These cars have tapered spacers. They're putting about 680 to 700 horsepower down to the rear wheels, way high for the 22, into the wall.
Yep, right up along the wall, scraping the wall itself.
See the damage, a little bit of damage to that right front fender. He definitely got in to the outside wall. He was running in the 3rd spot. See Will Kimmel, the 69, go by him.
Yeah, he crinkled it for sure.
Needs to keep an eye out, see if he can smell a tire rub. You don't want to cut a tire down here at these speeds. He's got a tire rub, it looks like, Ralph.
You can see just a wisp of smoke, can't you?
Yeah. He comes by the spotter's position right there at the start-finish line. The spotter needs to tell him, hey, bring that thing to pit road here. Too early in the race to take any chances.
Too much at risk, because the next time if that tire goes, you're not going to just crinkle it, you're going to just destroy it.
Ooh. Looks like he about got in the wall again on exit of 2.
Now he's dealing with the after effects of the aero with that, right?
Exactly.
Meanwhile, you saw Boston up here. Here's Kimmel in the 69. Allison in the 88.
How about Austin Wayne Self? Now he's going to try to go down to the bottom, draft off the 88 of Justin Allison to try to get by the 69 of Will Kimmel. Now he's going to tuck back in behind. Remember, just a lap or so ago, he was running in the 3rd spot right here at this point in the racetrack. Watch him. See, he's already up out of the groove, Ralph, and there's no grip up there.
Let's see what it looked like from his perspective.
He just feathered out of the throttle. More than likely, he was probably a little bit loose, Ralph, and he just got out of the groove into the loose stuff.
Caution is out. Caution is out, and the 10 is slowing on the bottom of the racetrack. Rick Clifton, and then the 97 of Tom O'Leary, the 4th, in the grass.
See some smoke out of the 97 car.
We'll straighten it all up for you when we come back to Michigan right after this. Stay with us. Coming up next, NASCAR truck racing heads to Illinois at the Gateway Motorsports Park with Camping World truck practice beginning after our race right here on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Fox Sports is your home for complete NASCAR coverage all season long.
Well, first time for the trucks at Gateway since 2010, and there's 8 drivers that have experience in trucks at Gateway. Only 8 of the field.
Wow. Well, let's see how we got here. Smoke just billowing out of the 97 of O'Leary.
ARC officials had no choice, but you can see Actually, some oil coming out from underneath that 97 car. No choice but to throw the caution flag.
Yeah, and he was running inside the top 20. Running up in 19th. We'll be right back. Just about cleaned up here in Michigan and ready to go racing again. You know, it's been really tough for Grant Enfinger, Phil, for the last week. These are the points coming into the weekend here at Michigan. Now, he had a 50-point lead before the weekend got started at Pocono. That got chopped to 20. Then after qualifying before the green flag here today, it was down to 5, and now he's having issues.
Yeah, second time on pit road here. Look, they're just going to top it off now. Not a bad strategy. These guys can go about 50, 55 laps here. That just gets him where he can run a few laps farther than the rest of the field, because they did not top these cars off after qualifying. So they had qualifying as well as pace laps today on the out of the fuel. So now he's topped off here on lap 7.
Now, Austin Wayne Self, you remember in the 22, he was the first one to brush the wall. He came down pit road as well as they're working on that car. Wendy, what did they do? Any idea?
Yes, for sure. They took off that right front tire and rolled out the right front fender, pulled it out a little bit. They came down pit road twice. You notice right there is the tire that came off the right front. Because it has that shredding, Paul Andrews showed it to ARCA. Hoosier will give them another right front tire with no penalty. So an extra right front tire will go to Austin Wayne Self. Austin had reported he felt like there was a little bit of fluid on the track because the 88 got into it as well right before that caution, guys.
Well, what a break for that 22 car. We said that he needed to come to pit road. I don't think he had another lap left,
no.
Ralph, on that car.
No, that worked in his favor as we're all set to go green as the Ford Mustang pace car heads for pit lane, and the green flag is up in the air.
Great start for Terrio on the inside in the 66 car.
Yeah, but look at our new leader, Mitchell, on the outside, who was leading when the yellow came out. Boy, he is strong, picking up right where he left off at Pocono.
How about Frank Kimmel, the 44 car, the Menards number 44 Toyota on the outside of the 25 of Boston. Strong run early here for Frank. Boy, great battle here for the third spot. Frank in the 44, the 25 of Boston going way down low. Looks like Justin Allison may think about going through the middle. Now he's going to tuck behind the 25 of Boston. How about Spencer Gallagher, the 23, right lined up with Frank?
And Will Kimmel coming up too in the red car. This is a good group racing here.
On board with the 25's Luke Toyota for Justin Boston. Justin won earlier this year at Toledo for his first career win. He was leading this race late last year, spun out, and his teammate Brendan Newberry went to victory lane. I'm sorry, it was not Brendan Newberry. It was Brendan Poole that went to victory lane. Side by side now, Spencer Gallagher going way down to the inside of the racetrack to try to break the draft on the 44 Frank Kimmel.
And that's one of the things about Michigan, Phil, is it's wide all the way around this facility.
We're used to seeing him run 2 wide here, 3 wide even. See Justin Allison down on the inside here. He's going to move up the racetrack, and the 25 of Boston's going to get on his outside.
How tough is it for some of these younger drivers to learn all the different lanes and how to utilize them here?
I tell you, it's really forgiving. That's the key. Austin Wayne Self found that it wasn't that forgiving early on here when he got up too high going in turn number 1. But as long as you stay down in the black and you've got room to go 2 wide, at least down there, if not 3 wide, then you're okay. A lot of grip down here.
You can see that groove around most racetracks, but this one, that black groove, wider than most because of those multiple lanes.
And what an amazing job they did repaving this racetrack a couple years ago. That's when the speeds really escalated up over 190 miles an hour.
We saw Josh Williams in the 6 get just a hair wide, and just in front of him is John West Townley in that 15, marching his way back up through the field here. He's up to 12th right now, and that's Zaxby's 15.
How about the 90 of Grant Enfinger? We saw him make 2 pit stops. What a recovery for Grant now. He's already gotten by the 15 of John West Townley. Remember, John West, as we documented early in the show, had to go to a backup car. Not one lap on the racetrack in that 15 car for John West.
And Self, same thing with him. He's restarted 16th. He's moved up to 13th. Here comes Kimmel charging in the 44. He's running in 4th as he battles with Allison in the black 88.
Allison tried to make the move down on the inside, but Frank had the momentum on the outside. How about John Westphalen now lined up with Tom Hessert? Tom had to go to the back of the pack because they had to replace an oil line after qualifying.
Townley splitting the slower car, and Hessert 77 as he gains another position.
That moves John West, that Zaxby's Toyota, up into the top 10.
And now that you're in the top 10, and we've just really begun this race, only 14 laps completed, as you see Allison getting back around Kimmel, he can now start to position himself to battle for the win. Now you can start talking to your crew chief. Okay, here's what she's doing. I need this change, pit stop, really get yourself going. Fight for the win.
Yeah, he's close enough now to the lead that he knows he's got a pretty decent car. He just needs to fine tune on it. Again, as we talked about early on, no mistakes on pit road.
$15 laps completed here at Michigan, and Mitchell continues to lead. We're going to step away for a Fox Sports update. Let's head out west. Here's Cole Wright. Mason Mitchell's been the car to beat at Michigan since we've been green. Led most of the way in the early stages of this one. The 98 hooked up. Looks like he's got a great race car here now. Almost a 4-second lead over Terrio.
There's Austin Terrio, the 66 car right now running second. First ever ARCA Racing Series start. First time he's been on a racetrack over a mile in length and doing a nice job here.
Fight going on here. This is for 9th. Enfinger in the 90. Townley in the 15.
This race really looks like it has a green flag feel to it. We had that early caution, but I'm telling you, really impressed with the job Grant Enfinger's done, Jim, to get back up into the top 10 after a couple times on pit road. Jim.
Phil, this is the very same race car that he drove last week in a very tight race car to 8th at Pocono. They made a lot of front end changes to Enfinger on this race car. They actually were fighting a loose condition a bit at the end of practice. So what they did, they came in on that first caution, made an adjustment, and they said to themselves, let's figure out the fuel. The fuel man put the can on the scale. They weighed it, they measured it. They said, you know what, if we top off before we go back out, we may have only one more stop ahead of us. So fuel strategy, playing for the point leader, who's got a slim 5-point advantage over the driver who's walking away with this one.
He needs something like that to help get his momentum going again as we watch this battle here for 4th between Allison and the 88 and Boston, who you're riding with here.
Yeah, that was a good move here by Grant Enfinger to come down pit road and then come back in on one to go to top it off, because that definitely gets him in his window. We talk about the pit window being somewhere between 50-55 laps, but that's when you're full of fuel. Remember, these cars qualified, then they had 3 pace laps before this race started, so I don't think anybody can go past lap 50 from the initial start.
As we watch this onboard here, watch how Boston stays right in the middle of the racetrack, basically all the way around. Then Allison cuts down to the bottom and then lets her drift back up a little bit. Different lines through the corner.
Yeah, just have to search for grip down there. And some of these cars are, you're going to get a little more grip on the bottom. You see John West a little bit wider entering, but then in the center of the corner, he gets a turn, tries to get underneath Grant. He may pull beside him now in that battle for 9th. Now he's going to tuck back in behind him.
Yeah, this is a different battle than we were watching there a second ago. This one is a fight for 9th. These two seem to be running more of the similar line right through the center. But Townley peeking a little bit below him. Then you see Coughlin in the Jags car. He's in 8th. So Townley really marching up, almost knocking on the door of the top 5.
Good
now you're watching
right here,
11th and 12th. This is the 22 of Self and Hessert. Oh, no, actually the 6 here of Williams.
Remember, the 22 of Austin Wayne Self got into the wall early on. Caution flag came out just in the nick of time for him. He didn't have another lap on that right front tire as it was rubbing the fender. His guys beat the fenders out, put new right side tires on, and he's made his way back up just now outside the top 10.
Hessert's actually right behind these two.
Good run early on for the 6 of Josh Williams. Josh had a runner-up finish last year at Chicago. That's his best career finish on a very fast mile-and-a-half in Chicago.
Talked about how they were closing in on Coughlin. So now 8th, 9th, and 10th, all right in a row. These two have reeled him in.
Remember, last week was Cody Coughlin's first ever super speedway attempt at Pocono. Ended up with a top 10 finish. But then coming here to this fast 2-mile racetrack here at Michigan, he really has adapted well. Qualified just outside of the top 5, qualified in the 6th spot, and running well inside the top 10 right now.
And an extremely different super speedway compared to Pocono a week ago. You have to drive this place a lot differently than you did last week's venue. So Townley's on the march here, Jim.
He's got the 4th fastest car on the racetrack, but that doesn't make up for no track time in this car. He started the race with radio issues. He didn't leave pit road till very late. Right now, John West Townley radioed in, I'm able to close on these guys, but I think we're down on horsepower compared to the other cars. So Townley trying to gather up here to get a run, but he doesn't know if he has enough to pass that car just ahead of him.
Not a track where you want to be down on horsepower. Aero can help. Utilizing the draft can help, I assume.
It certainly can. And this, he may not be down on horsepower. This may be a little draggier body than what he had here. We know how good that Toyota was, his primary car, because again, it won this race with Brennan Poole last year. And this is the motor that was in the backup car. But it could have a little bit more drag on, a little more downforce, which he may like later on in a run, that extra downforce, if that's the case.
You want to catch this guy? You better have brought your A motor with you, because he is zipping around this racetrack. Mason Mitchell, he's been the man so far. Quarter of the way through Michigan ARCA 200. For the most part, it's been clean and green for Mason Mitchell as we work our way just past the first quarter of this 100-lap race. 71 to go here at Michigan International Speedway. 4 cautions in this race a year ago, only 1 so far here today. For Scott Brand rookie spotlight, Mason Mitchell, the 19-year-old out of Des Moines, Iowa. Well, you know, we were talking about him at the beginning of the show. I believe it was Jim that did the report on him. In fact, he started his own team and everything he's done there. It's such a challenge just as a driver to get situated in this series. And here he is as a car owner as well, as we watch this battle between 9th and 10th.
Yeah, Grant Enfinger was able to make the move on the 55 of Cody Coughlin. John West Townley was able to get by both of those cars and move on up to the 8th spot. He's chasing down the Kimmels now. Frank and Will running 6th and 7th, but Cody Coughlin just hanging in there, doing a nice job. Remains in the top 10 here. Again, we're 31 laps into this thing here. We know we're going to have a pit stop here within about 20 laps for most of these guys.
John West Townley has run down the Kimmels. Frank in front of Will.
John West really has a great car right now. He's 2nd fastest car on the racetrack that last lap, and see if he can close up on Will Kimmel. Will driving the 69, had a great top 5 run last week at Pocono. Frank had his usual solid top 10 effort. Frank was in the finished 7th at Pocono last week.
All these youngsters up front, and there's Frank Kimmel. Just waiting for them to bobble, and the veteran ready to capitalize.
John West is going to look down to the inside of Will. Not going to be able to do anything with him that end of the racetrack.
No, but he might get a good run and a draft here going into 3. Slower traffic in front of them as well.
And these guys logging laps right now. John West is on the way towards the front. Looks like Mike Buckley, the 28 car that they're going by. Frank leading the way here. Will and right behind him, saving a little bit of fuel right now.
Townley really seems to gain ground closing on entry into the corner too.
Yeah, he's able to drive that car hard into the corner.
Right there on the backside of Will Kimmel.
You get a little bit too close, then you start losing a little bit of air off the nose, and then your car wants to get a little bit tight.
See if he tries it here this time.
A little more room on an exit off of turn number 4 than you do off of turn number 2 because of the trioval.
There's Ken Schrader in the Federated 52, and look who's caught him. Mason Mitchell has worked his way around. He's behind the 13th place car now, Schrader. and try to put him a lap down here.
Kenny, a little bit off the pace. I talked to him yesterday, and he said, I'm not sure that it hasn't hurt me running a Cup car here because of so much downforce on these Cup cars. But here goes John West Townley. He got by Will Kimmel going after Frank.
And he did it on the outside. He went around the outside of Will. What's he going to do here with Frank Kimmel? Will he use the outside on the 44 or go to the bottom here?
He's going to follow in Frank's tire tracks right now. Let's see if he can make the move on the outside down here at this end of the racetrack like he did just a moment ago. He may have found something up there on the high side, Ralph.
He's looking up there.
Look at the good run. He gets up off the corner.
Man. Yep, he's there. Here he comes, and Frank Kimmel, the veteran, gives him plenty of room.
Frank could feel that he was there, and he knew that he wasn't in his mirror anymore. Will's going to try to use that same move to the outside to get by Frank. He's going to be able to do it. Move John West all the way up to the 6th spot from last.
And he's not sure about his motor. He's got plenty of power. So does this guy, Mason Mitchell, continuing to lead. Over 260 laps led by Mason Mitchell without a win. Could come here today. Tuesday, July 15th, baseball's best gather in Minnesota as the captain, Derek Jeter, takes the field in his last All-Star game ever in what promises to be an emotional and unforgettable night. Special coverage begins at 4:30 on Fox Sports 1, followed by the 2014 All-Star game at 7:30 on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go.
Boy, growing up, I couldn't wait for the All-Star game to come on.
Oh, man. Loved it.
Watched Al Kaline and Denny McClain and all those guys.
All
for
those
the Tigers. Yes.
Yeah. It's still Mason Mitchell leading here, looking for that first career victory, and it could come here today.
Saw Justin Allison a little bit timid when he drove around the 2 car of Tommy Prater. No sense taking any chances here. We have a long way to go, Ralph.
That's Gallagher. He's running in 3rd in the 23. Top 5 average age, Phil, 22 years old.
Incredible. Look at the last lap speed. Oh, 180.5 miles an hour the last lap for Spencer Gallagher.
Wendy, one thing I know for sure, the average age of the booth, not 22 years old.
And I will not disclose my age. I'm just kidding. For Spencer Gallagher, he's been watching, believe it or not, the 88 of Justin Allison behind him, watching his line in the mirror. He said that 88 is coming off the turn a lot better and a lot smoother. Communication with their spotter up atop here at Michigan International Speedway, so they are planning some adjustments. We know we are probably within a few laps away from green flag pit stops.
Talked to some of the spotters earlier today as they came down off the roof. It was really windy and cool up there, and as the sun continues to set, it might be really tough on the spotters here today.
Yeah, without a doubt. Now, it looks like I'm looking at the flags out here, and it looks like the wind has died down a little bit, because I was down on pit road earlier during some nationwide practice that you were covering here on Fox Sports 1, and it was really windy. Doesn't look to be as bad right now, but it is blowing down towards turn number 1. And so it really zings those. There's the flags right there, the American and the Canadian flags. Really zings those cars down in turn 1.
Yeah, those flags are right on pit road, right behind Victory Lane. So that'll give you an idea of how the wind is blowing here. Gusting up around 24 miles an hour, the wind, as we watch Allison here.
Justin's caught one off a great top 5 run, his first top 5 in his ARCA Racing Series career last week at Pocono. He had his best career finish prior to that at Toledo, the previous race that he ran, so he's bettered his best career finish in his last 2 races. And he's chasing down the 23 of Spencer Gallagher right now.
That makes this a battle for 3rd. Allison looking inside.
He's going to go all the way down to the bottom.
Short way around is going to give him the advantage, too. He's going to get the position.
His car is really good down on the bottom, down in 1 and 2. We saw him make a pass earlier. I believe it was on Frank Kimmel down there on the bottom of the racetrack in 1 and 2. Move him up to 3rd.
And he's already gapping Gallagher a little bit. He was right down to that white line, Phil.
Yeah, he was the fastest car on the racetrack that last lap. Spencer's coming to pit road.
Yes, he is. We're closing in on the halfway point. Green flag pit stops.
Saw how difficult it was for him to get from 180 miles an hour down to 55 here. Wendy.
As Justin Allison passed Spencer Gallagher, Spencer said the car is getting worse and worse. They decided to come down pit road. It's been really tight in the center of 1 to 2. He's had to work too much to get it what he wants it to do. Jim?
John West Townley, again, we mentioned about that horsepower. They're also watching the water gauge as he comes down pit road on number 15 Zaxby's Toyota. Small adjustment they'll make on the car with the tire pressure. 4 tires going on, 4 Hoosier radials, Sunoco fuel as well. They haven't talked much about the air temp, but it is certainly cooling off here on pit road. You see the tape not being adjusted whatsoever. They started with a lot of tape on the nose of this Camry. 4 tires now, the left side's going on. Townley's Camry here under green.
Gallagher's crew had lost a tire. They gathered it back up. Here comes Boston in the 25 and Will Kimmel in the 69.
Justin Boston running in the top 5 as he came to pit road here.
Jim.
Well, it's been a tight condition run for Justin Boston. Since the start of the race, he said, my car's tight. His crew chief said, let the race come to you. The crew chief won this race a year ago, Kevin Reed, with the driver of Brennan Poole. Well, Poole's the spotter for this team this year. They're talking their young driver as the car's rolling forward slightly. Boston will go 4 tires. The engine is off in the 25. Wendy?
4 tires for Will Kimmel. He gave up his 8th place position coming down pit road on lap 46. Right behind him will be Frank Kimmel opting to pit down pit road. Now Frank Kimmel has been a little bit tight. He had worked his way up to the 6th position after starting 8th here at Michigan International Speedway. Frank Kimmel comes to a stop, and it's going to be 4 tires and a slight adjustment in the right rear for Frank Kimmel.
Then we talked about no mistakes on pit road. Boston's crew did.
Yeah. They also had a problem on the rear of the car. They could not get the rear tire off, as well as probably being out of gas.
Well, let's see what happens with Mason Mitchell. It's been a smooth day so far for the 98. Will he have a smooth pit stop? He's in, Jim.
Not so surprising. No changes is the call here. The crew very happy with the race car for without any reason the fastest car on the track throughout this first green flag run. Mason, however, has talked about the lap cars, and maybe he said maybe these ARCA officials can work with these teams and get the drivers out of the way. That's what a happy driver says when he's got a race lead, right? 4 tires for Mason Mitchell, the race leader in the 98. No changes on that car.
How about the 25 still at the end of pit road, Ralph?
And Jim, he's right in front of our leader who just gets around him. That could have been the problem for him.
Yeah, they will not allow the teams to push those cars past. They exit a pit road there. He got as far as he could go. And as you mentioned, the 98 of Mitchell had to drive around him on exit.
Mitchell had a lead of just under 4 seconds over Tirio when he pitted. We'll see how things cycle around. So Boston, boy, things really going bad for the 25.
And these, while pit stops are going on, there's a 55 of Cody Coughlin, teammate to the 25.
Yeah, and Boston was in 5th when all that happened. Here's a 48 who struggles to get into his pit stall.
He's not even close to his pit stall. Half his car still in Cody Coughlin's pit.
That's Brad Smith, and Coughlin is underway. And Boston still sits there.
That's the 18 of Bill Catania driving around him.
Now Allison is on pit road in the 88. Here he comes, Jim. He's making his way to you.
And he's going to have to come in nice and wide because Justin Boston's car is the pit behind him, and that car is now going on the jack stand. Allison, that 3rd generation racer now, brings the HavicoSales.com Ford in. They weren't going to do a whole lot of changes. They actually thought they could go at least 1 more lap under caution, or under the green, excuse me. But they elected to bring him in 1 lap earlier than planned. The crew went to scramble. They've got 4 tires now. No adjustments except for a slight air pressure to help Allison through the corner. Middle of the corner is where he wants to help, and he's got it now with 4 tires and Sunoco fuel.
One thing about Michigan International Speedway, Phil, is it's a wide, long pit road. Plenty of room to work in the pit box.
Certainly is here. That's why it didn't make any sense for the 48 of Brad Smith to come in and block that car in the pit like that.
Wow, look at Townley diving through there.
There's the 22, our leader, Austin Wayne Selfie, has not come to pit road since the caution flag. He last pitted on lap number 6. We know now he's in his window. He could probably come, when he comes to pit road, he's going to be able to go the rest of the way, which I think most everybody is going to be able to go the rest of the way because they ran 45 laps or so, counting plus qualifying plus the pace laps.
Well, we are past the halfway mark. Scheduled for 100 laps here.
We talk about not making any mistakes on pit road, Ralph, and we saw several of them made. Not even our leader, Mason Mitchell, in the 98 car, when he came into his pit, he had trouble with the jack. Let's take a look, Ralph, at what happened to Mason Mitchell on his pit stop. Watch this on the left side. The car's a little bit too low. He's signaling for his guys to raise the car up. The car's a little bit too low there. The shocks haven't released enough to allow that car to come up, and that's going to cost him several precious seconds.
Well, it cost him a position to Terrio, who is now in front of him. Remember, they've been running 1 and 2 with Mitchell in front of Terrio. Now it's the other way around. It's Self, Enfinger, Terrio, and Mitchell. And boy, things just continue to get worse for Boston in the 25.
Undoubtedly something that they could not fix on pit road. They're going to have to go behind the wall to see if they can make some repairs. You know, while John West Townley right now being shown in the 7th spot, there's Austin Wayne Self. He's our leader. John West essentially just unlapped himself if the caution flag were to come out right now. Looks like Austin Wayne Self has designs about getting back around the 15 of John West Townley.
Even with that crinkled right front, he is pretty racy in the 22.
And he's not been to pit road since lap number 6. Fast car for Austin Wayne Self.
Remember, when he brushed the wall, he was running 3rd. He had a good race car. Well, the majority of green flag pit stops are done. There's a couple of guys that are going to need to make at least one more stop. We'll see how it all cycles out when we come back to the Michigan ARCA 200. Austin Wayne Self has come to pit road in the 22.
He came in as our leader. Remember, he pitted under caution. The car is not running right now. He may have actually run out of gas, Ralph. See if he can get it running. Remember, we saw Justin Boston's car being pushed and never refired.
They can't get it going.
It's really hard to get these cars refired, especially if you don't squirt some fuel into the carburetor. We have a tire over here off of somebody's car. It looks like he's got it fired now.
It's sputtering.
Sputtering. There's Grant Enfinger, who inherited the lead. He comes to pit road.
There goes Self. Now he's got it cranked.
How about no mistakes on pit road, Ralph?
It's killing him. He had a great stop, and now Enfinger's in. Jim.
And he wanted to lead that lap. He came in a lap later on purpose. This may be their final stop. They're looking at the right front, getting the right front in. They might have made a spring adjustment on the right front. But nonetheless, he led that lap. He said, did I get the 5 points? They said yes. The point leader now changes the rights. They're going to come around, change the laps. A bit of a longer stop and an adjustment with the right front tire off this number 90 Motor Honey Ford. He said the car was a bit snug, so they made a tire pressure adjustment as well. Enfinger down. He now kills it. The veteran out of Alabama now has troubles getting the car fired down pit road here.
Well, you led a lap for 5 points, but you're giving up potential positions and more points because the pit stop's going wrong.
We had a guy making his first ever ARCA start, Austin Terrio, now, who has inherited a lead that was clean on pit road. He may be the only one that was clean on pit road.
And that might make the difference here today. Wendy, Self is coming back.
Yep, it's a drive-through penalty for Austin Wayne Self, but multiple problems. Not only were they trying to get it fired because he was out of fuel, they had a tire go across pit road while cars were coming around, and then the air gun almost left the pit box area as well. So multiple things going wrong for Austin Wayne Self here on lap 60 at Michigan.
We said at the very beginning of the show, you can make maybe one small mistake, too many problems here.
Watch the front tire there. Look how much trouble he has with that right front tire. The tire carrier, he's going to bounce it off the wall. And that's that one guy's job right there, is to catch those tires. You see, he caught one of them, but he didn't catch the other one. That's going to cost Austin Wayne Self that pass-through penalty.
Back out on the racetrack is Austin Wayne Self, and right now he's showing in 13th. When he came back from break, he pitted out of the lead. Now he's 13th. This young man here in the 66, Terrio, is your leader. We had a big swing in time there too, didn't we? Because Mitchell was leading. He was up 4 seconds on Terrio. By the time the pit stops were over, he is now down 2 seconds to Theriault.
Yeah, he's closed it up, Ralph. He was actually 4 seconds behind after the pit stops. He's closed it up now to within 2 seconds. So he's on the move. What a great job by Austin Theriault and his entire team to get that car on pit road, not have any mistakes, and really do a nice job and got him the lead.
There's the 98 right there. Mason Mitchell, tired of playing second fiddle to the winner. He wants one.
He's run a flawless race, but they were not flawless on pit road here, and that's why he finds himself about 2 seconds behind the 66 of Theriault.
Fight for 8th place. Ken Schrader is in it in the 52, battling with Coughlin.
But how important this is right now, both these guys are 1 lap down, so if the caution flag were to come out, right now Cody Coughlin would get the free pass. That's what Kenny Schrader right now is racing for, to try to get by the 55 to be in position for that free pass should the caution flag come out.
Look at Schrader through the center of the corner. That federated car looks great right through the center of the corner. A lot of speed through there for the 52 of Ken Schrader.
See if Kenny can drive down in turn number 1 here, get in front of that 55 car.
Yep.
He's got it.
So the Jags entry slips back 1. Cody Coughlin will tuck in behind Ken Schrader.
Right now, Frank Kimmel being shown in the 7th spot is 36.5 seconds behind Austin Theriault. So he's only about 3 seconds in front of Austin Theriault on the racetrack. He would be the next car to go a lap down. Right now, Kenny Schrader needs a caution flag.
And look at our leader. That's that white car you see right behind those 3. He's caught up in traffic, which means Mitchell and that black car right behind him is going to have a great opportunity to close that gap. And here he comes. He's going for the high side.
Look how much he gained there. He gained about 15, 20 car lengths.
Slings it to the bottom, and here he comes for the lead.
Going to drive right on by.
Got him just like that.
He gained 2 seconds in about 2 laps time.
And he's going to make it even worse because he's going to maybe put a couple of cars between him if Theriault can't get to the bottom behind him. One of the cars are going around his Enfinger in the 90.
And that would put Grant Enfinger 2 laps down because of all his problems on pit road.
Those 5 points for leading the lap just vaporized.
He may lose 20 points in finishing positions to get that 5 points for leading.
Ooh, look at Mason Mitchell. He couldn't get past Enfinger the way he wanted, so he had to tuck up behind him.
That allows Austin Theriault to pull right back up on the rear bumper of Mason Mitchell.
See if Theriault can get all the way to the bottom here, Phil.
He's going to have a little bit of momentum here, especially if those 2 cars stay side by side. Might have been an opportunity to make it 3 wide, but no sense taking any chances here.
Enfinger right there in front of him. Mitchell was able to get to the bottom and then let that car run up the racetrack.
Grant Enfinger did not want to get passed by the 98 of Mitchell because, again, that puts him 2 laps down. No chance of getting a free pass.
Mitchell was able to utilize the bottom. It looks to me like Theriault can't get all the way down to that white line, and that's an advantage for Mason Mitchell. Running at a Michigan race record speed of over 161 miles an hour. Tomorrow, it's a full day of Major League Baseball action, beginning with the Twins taking on Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers on Fox Sports 1. Then it's Baseball Night in America on Fox as Mike Trout and the Angels take on the Braves. The Nationals battle the Cardinals or Reds Brewers. Our MLB doubleheader begins tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern. Fox Sports 1. It continues 7 p.m. Eastern on Fox and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. You know what, the Tigers, it was a first career complete game for Scherzer, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. 179th career start as he shut out the Twins last night. First complete game. You stole that from me. You
yes,
knew I
did.
had that. You knew I had that.
I know. The guys in the truck set you up.
Yeah, that's all right. That's all right. I'm just glad we got.
What are your friends
glad
for?
we got the win. That's all.
Yes. Yes. So Kenny Schrader running here in the 52 and 8th.
Yeah, Kenny's about to go 2 laps down, Ralph. Right now, Frank Kimmel has been put down a lap, so Kenny's out of position to get the free pass and getting ready to go 2 laps down.
Look at Mitchell. Already 1.2 in front of Terrio.
He has a fast car. He's had a fast car this entire race.
And on that lap, let's see what he does. Let's see if he... That grows. As he gets around Schrader.
Was the fastest car on the racetrack once again. Only about a half a tenth faster than Terrio in the 66 car. There's Terrio right there coming off turn 2.
Phil, we've talked a lot about Mason Mitchell and, you know, all these second place finishes and all that. And right there racing with Kyle Larson a week ago. You know, it just had to stick in him all week. I'm sure in your racing career you had weeks like that. How do you deal with that as a driver and as a team? How do they try to get Mason ready for this week?
Ralph, I still think about the second place finishes I had years and years ago. So it's very tough, but I tell you, that young man has a lot on his shoulders, starting his own race team and actually living at the shop and working on the race team. So I think he's pretty dedicated, pretty focused on getting to the next race. And right now he knows that he was close last week, and he knows he has a great car today. If we can make no more mistakes in this race, he has an excellent chance to get the monkey off his back and get to victory lane. But talked to him in the garage area yesterday, and he's pretty solid, pretty dedicated. He's going to, if he doesn't get it today, it may come next week at Elko.
Well, the top 3 are all thinking the same thing, right? They're all looking for their first career wins. And here we are, you know, we've been talking about super speedway racing these last 2 weeks, and now we're going short track racing right after that, Elko, Minnesota. So for some of these guys, this is where you want to take that opportunity, get big points, because next week, next race will be pretty tough if you go short track racing.
That's exactly right. A couple short tracks in a row, as you mentioned. Elko next week, then a week off, then Winchester, that high speed half mile at Winchester, Indiana.
Down to the pits we go. Here's Jim.
Well, guys, one thing for certain, Nick Ramey oversees the Roush Yates engines here in the ARCA Racing Series. All the Ford guys race with Roush Yates engines. Well, one important note is Mason Mitchell's making notice, not only in this garage, but in the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series garage when it comes to engine building. Doug Yates of Roush Yates engine has come down to take a peek at how things are going on down here.
Jim, we just blew a motor, and it's Boston.
Right in front of the 98. We were riding along with Mason Mitchell right in front of him. You can hear some bad sounds from that 25 car.
He needed to get to the bottom, but couldn't cut to the bottom right away because there was a tremendous amount of cars coming behind him.
Yeah, Justin did a nice job maintaining control of that car, and so did Mason Mitchell, who was right in his tire tracks. And as soon as that engine let go on that Zaloop Toyota, you saw Mason turn down to the bottom and get underneath him.
And she went in a big way.
Boy, what a tough day for Justin Boston.
Oh, right?
Well, so much for the lead
Yeah.
that Mason Mitchell had opened up over Austin Terrio. Again, we're not done with potential of making mistakes on pit road, Ralph.
Well, I was going to ask you about that. You got 24 to go here. What do you do?
I think you come in, absolutely come in and put tires on. Mason Mitchell pitted on lap number 47 with qualifying with the pace laps. We think he can probably make it to the end. The caution lap's going to help that, but why not put some new Hoosiers on this car and know he's got enough fuel in case we get a green-white checker. Remember, we could have multiple green-white checkers here in the ARCA Racing Series.
You almost have to, don't you?
I think so.
Let's watch what happened just in front of our leader. There it goes.
And it goes in a big way. Fortunately, he was just enough favoring the inside there that he was able to turn that car hard. And we have so few cars on the lead lap. You come into pits right now, and the worst you're going to restart is 6th. Nothing to lose by coming down pit road.
We had done 68 consecutive green flag laps, and Frank Kimmel will get the free pass.
And that's the view Mason Mitchell had when the 25 engine let go for Justin Boston.
Boston coasts into the garage area. Frustrating day finally coming to an end for him.
Pit road is open. We'll see what the lead lap cars do.
No!
They're going to stay out.
Well,
boy,
if the
Spencer
leaders,
Gallagher's going to come
yeah.
in. But Spencer right now is our third place car.
Yep.
Is that John West Townley following me along with Will Kimmel?
Yeah.
Nothing to lose for these guys.
No. You got to be smooth. Watching the pit stop for Gallagher. Wendy.
Yep, strategy for Spencer Gallagher, giving up his third place position. 4 tires. Spencer said when he lifts off the gas, it gets back on. He wanted to go up the racetrack and then slowly went tight. That's why they're making the adjustments. Jim?
Tear off. They're actually adding tape to the 15 nose of John West Townley, pitting from the top 5. No tires, just fuel. Track bar up 1 round as well on Townley's 15.
Looks like they might have taken a rubber out of the back right rear
of Spencer Gallagher's car. But interesting strategy here for John West Townley. Remember, the worst these guys are going to restart are 4th, 5th, and 6th. And we're going to have some with fresh tires. But yeah. I really don't know why the 15 of John West Townley didn't go ahead and put some fresh tires on.
Maybe didn't want to run that risk of a potential bad pit stop.
Very possibly. But again, 6 was going to be the worst he was going to restart.
Yeah. Well, that exploding motor is what brought us to a caution, our second of the day. We'll be back. Tomorrow, the world's oldest sports car endurance race comes to Fox Sports 1. The 24 Hours of Le Mans begins tomorrow at 8:30 a.m. Eastern, only on Fox Sports 1, with continuing coverage on Fox Sports 1 and Fox Sports 2 throughout the weekend. You catch the entire race streaming live, Fox Sports Go. Track's not ready just yet. When Boston was hung up on the outside, it left a trail of oil all the way through 1 and 2 that the crew is working hard to get taken care of. We'll have about 20 to go when we come back. Tomorrow, live coverage from here in Michigan continues with Sprint Cup practice and Sprint Cup final practice. Coverage beginning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Fox Sports 2, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Fox Sports is your home for complete NASCAR coverage all season long.
How about the speeds here of these Cup cars, huh?
Wow.
But 204 and a half for the pole? Unbelievable. And might as well leave it on Fox Sports 1. We're going to have a great truck race tomorrow night from Gateway. First time since 2010.
Yeah.
Le Mans all day. What a great day for racing.
Well, we're going to have trucks from Gateway after us tonight.
Yes, absolutely. Michael and Rick and Ray and Hermie will be there. And I won't.
You won't?
Be there?
No.
I'm going.
You're
going there,
tomorrow,
but I won't be there tonight. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Jim?
Well, Ralph, one thing to know about these leaders are very concerned about fuel. Right now, they said, hey, we pitted on lap 48. Crew chief Matt Weber for our race leader, Mason Mitchell, said, put that car in 4th gear and do as much as you can to save as much fuel as you can. When you need to use the gas pedal, do it, but keep the car in 4th to save fuel. Also checking into Austin Terrio's pit. He said, the crew chief is Billy Venturini today, by the way. He said if the crew filled the car with fuel, we're okay. But we did pit on lap 48, so do as much as you can, Austin, to save fuel. Now, Austin's never raced on a track bigger than a mile, so this is all new to him as he prepares for his second and third starts in the NASCAR Nationwide Series with Junior Motorsports. So Austin's learning a lot here. He said to me before the race, if it holds true, I want to see what the car has towards the end of the race. I just want to get in position, so this may be his go time, if you will, in that 66 machine.
Don't see anybody turning the motor off and coasting.
Yeah,
like
I was thinking the same thing, Ralph. It'd be a good time to do that here with this 2-mile racetrack, and you can do a lot of coasting around here, save a lot of fuel. Again, most of these caution laps are certainly going to help. You don't use near the fuel during the caution laps. It's almost a 2-to-1 ratio. You can run 2 caution laps for every green flag lap, so that may be enough to get them in the window. And they're exactly right. Leave that thing in 4th gear so you turn as few RPMs as you can as well. But I'm like you. I think I'd be turning the engine off every now and then. Leave the car in gear. That one right there is coasting for Spencer Gallagher. But Spencer was one of the guys that came down pit road, so really no need for him to save fuel.
Jim, how about Coughlin in the 55?
Well, what they did is because the young driver had not had a lot of track time. Keep in mind, Cody Coughlin made his super speedway debut last week at Pocono. Never been on a track that big, but they had an all-day practice on Wednesday. What I just checked in and talked to his crew chief, Jeff McClure, about, this 55 machine on the entry has never been comfortable, never been right for this young driver. So he's been getting pointers on corner entry and actually being coached corner to corner by spotter and driver coach Scott Wimmer. But again, Cody Coughlin getting comfortable here. He said it's a whole different animal. This track is different than Pocono. They didn't get enough track time, and Jeff McClure reaffirmed me. He said it's the same story from before the race. We have to get this young man comfortable on corner entry into turns 1 and 3. They put on 4 tires under this caution to try to get that car to where they like it. And I imagine 4 new tires might make that car feel pretty good for Cody Coughlin here at Michigan.
There is absolutely nothing about Michigan that is similar to Pocono.
No, not even a little bit. fast speeds, but that's about the extent of it.
Yeah.
And that is the same Scott Wimmer, multi-time winner in the Nationwide Series, as well as a former Cup driver. I saw him in the elevator on the way up here. He's spotting. And then driver coach, as Jim mentioned, for Cody Coughlin, great race car driver.
Well, it looked like the lights are out on the Ford Mustang pace car.
Going to have 17 laps to go when they restart this race. Max Scherzer, complete game shutout last night for the Tigers.
Couldn't steal it from you twice.
Start 179. 98 of Mason Mitchell is going to take the inside. The initial start and the first restart, he took the outside.
Yeah, so he's going to shake it up a little bit. Maybe because he's thinking about the oil down there in turns 1 and 2.
I think that's exactly why he's doing it, Ralph. He wants to stay away from that.
Where that motor had let go. Wow, look how close the two of them are in the front.
Yeah, Terrio would like to push him down a little bit. He doesn't want to go up where that
Here we go. Let's see how turns 1 and 2 play here as we go back to green with 18 to go.
Looked like Terrio wanted to get down to the inside in behind Mitchell, but he's just going to drive it in there hard.
He had no choice, did he?
He stays to Mitchell's outside.
They're side by side, bumping and banging down the backstretch of Michigan, and Terrio forces his way into the lead.
I think they made some contact. You can see a tire mark right in front of the left rear tire on that 66 car.
Now let's see if that does anything to a tire rub. Terrio taking the lead. Could Mitchell be relegated to second place finish again as we go 3 wide behind him?
That's a battle for fourth. John West Townley, the 15 car, the 23 of Spencer Gallagher.
And Enfinger in the 90 on the bottom.
John West way up the racetrack.
Great racing here in the closing stages in Michigan. Self in the 22 with Gallagher in the 23.
Self is a lap down right now, actually 2 laps down, but racing the 23 of Gallagher. Justin Allison doing a great job here running in the 3rd spot.
And the top 2 continue. Nose to tail here with 15 to go. Terrio in the lead.
Boy, they're running some fast laps, some of the fastest laps we've seen this entire race. Just a little bit off what the pole was earlier today. John West able to get by Gallagher to take over the 4th spot.
There you see the leaders coming off of 4.
You talked about how hard it was for Mason Mitchell to finish second again last week at Pocono, and here he is. He's been in the driver's seat this entire race, and he finds himself with 14 laps to go, chasing somebody.
This will be a crushing defeat if he's forced to finish second again. Last week at Pocono, he didn't get the lead till near the end. Battled hard. Here he's dominated the day.
Came out of after his green flag pit stop 4 seconds behind Austin Terrio. He was able to chase him down and open up a 2-second lead before the caution flag came out.
And don't forget, these guys are on the older tires too, aren't they, Phil?
They certainly
They're doing
are.
a good job. Nobody's chasing them down.
Yeah, they're faster right now than the cars that did come to pit road and put tires on.
Slower car in front of him. No problem there.
Austin Terrio ran within a 0.5 of a second of his qualifying time from earlier today, that last lap.
Townley in that 15 is actually in 4th.
That's a battle in front of him with the 90 of Enfinger, the 22 of Self for the 8th position.
Enfinger can't afford to give up any more points. Townley to the bottom. He's going to try to get around them both. Hasn't been able to clear him. Self tucks up behind Enfinger.
John West Townley needs to get by these two cars. He finds himself a couple seconds behind the third place car. Austin Self goes high yet again.
Yep, and that cost him, because not only did Townley get around him, but so did Gallagher, and Self, who was battling with Enfinger, now has this huge gap to fill.
And two cars in between them. You hear the 23 of Gallagher having to play with a throttle over there. That car is not driving like he needs it right now. And Self's going to move to the bottom.
Townley wants to catch Allison, who's up in third. But first, he's got to dispose of Enfinger.
Tries to get down to the bottom, not able to do it that time, but he hangs in there on the bottom.
Here comes Self back as he closes in on Gallagher.
John West Townley able to get by the 90 of Enfinger. Again, that is not for position.
Nor is Gallagher here fighting with Self, because Gallagher is actually in fifth behind Townley. But you got to clear these guys to go catch the guy you really want to race.
Absolutely. John West now is clear of that traffic. He can see if he can chase down Justin Allison. Right now, 3 seconds behind the third place running Justin Allison.
Terrio has opened up an almost 2-second lead over Mason Mitchell now.
Boy, that clean air is something. Mason Mitchell had it for most of the race. We saw him get the lead back from Terrio in some heavy traffic.
Wendy, what's the story on the 23?
Well, for Spencer Gallagher on that restart, the front end just started going away on Spencer. That was the communication back from Spencer to the team. The car just going away in these final laps.
Gallagher currently in fifth.
Boy, Terrio and Mitchell really running some fast laps each and every lap since the restart. Been fast laps, and obviously Terrio faster. Almost a 2-second lead now over Mitchell.
Said the front end starting to go away on him. Let's see if that car's pushing up the racetrack at all. A little bit there, huh, Phil?
Yeah, he can adjust that a little bit by backing up the corner, backing off a little bit earlier. Let that car take a set, get it turned, then get back in the throttle.
Here's Townley running in fourth. He's about 4 seconds behind Allison. Here's Ken Schrader in the 52 on the bottom there. The federated car. Schrader battling with Coughlin over 11th in the Jegs machine.
Tom Hessert, the 77, right behind them. He's also in this mix here in that battle for 11th. Both of these cars, or all three of these cars, 2 laps down.
Hessert's Care Guard 77 right up on the back bumper of Coughlin.
Still a solid run for Cody Coughlin in the first time at a track of this size and speed.
Less than 10 to go, and as you can see in our scoreboard at the top of the screen, Terrio almost 2.5 seconds now over Mitchell.
Right now, Mason Mitchell has to hope for a caution flag.
Here comes Hessert. Got him.
Good hard move by Tom Hessert driving down in the corner.
Jim Terrio on his way to victory.
And I just checked with crew chief Billy Venturini, and I said, how close are you on fuel? His first finger and thumb did not have space between them. They're very, very concerned. As fast as that 66 Kinetic Toyota's running, they're worried they have enough fuel to the finish. Mason Mitchell has not said anything on the radio as far as why his car is not keeping pace. It may be the clean air issue where he just can't get enough air to what he needs across that nose, but with this distance now, you think he closed again. Not the case. Mitchell has said nothing on the radio, nor has his crew chief signaled they're worried about anything. He just is not as fast as the 66 right now.
Yeah, something's going to happen, Ralph. Have to happen for Mitchell to have a shot at either a fuel issue for Terrio or a caution flag, because he now is over 3 seconds behind.
Yeah, and at that point, it's not the dirty air. You're in clean air when you're that far back, right?
Yeah, that last lap, Terrio was 0.4 of a second faster than Mason Mitchell. Coming down to 4 laps to go here.
Mason Mitchell has to be wondering, what do I have to do?
Remember, we talked about him picking the inside on that last restart. Terrio had no choice but to go through the speedy drive. Track workers did an excellent job cleaning that racetrack up. It looked like there may be some stuff on the racetrack, just a stain, and he was able to stay on the outside of him and get the advantage on Mitchell on that restart.
Yeah, but I would have done that too, wouldn't have you? I would have put my biggest challenger up there.
Yeah, I would have too. I think, but unfortunately, it just didn't work for him.
No,
Terrio just wasn't going to be detoured.
I mean, the kid's done everything right, Mason Mitchell.
Absolutely.
I mean, not that Terrio hasn't. Terrio's car maybe has just come in better here in the later stages.
Remember, both of these cars pitted back on lap number 47. We've had a number of caution laps since then.
3 to go. As we heard, fuel is still something that we have to keep an eye on for Terrio.
No challenge from third. Justin Allison now over 9 seconds behind. Remember, he ran 47 laps plus qualifying plus pace laps. So with all the caution laps we had, Ralph, for that blown engine by Justin Boston, that should be enough to get him to the end.
Phil, we are getting deeper into the twilight of the day here. Cooler temperatures. Maybe that's impacted
Mason
Mitchell's
Mitchell.
car.
Absolutely, yes.
Should be seeing the white flag next time by for Terrio. Here it comes. White flag for Terrio. Austin Terrio in his first ARCA start. He's running select races this year. The NASCAR Nationwide Series for Junior Motorsports. Finished 15th in his first start at Iowa back in May.
Is that a little bit of debris on his grill? Obviously, with only a half lap to go, that's not going to affect anything.
Maybe it's helping him. On his way to becoming the 19th different winner in the last 19 Michigan races. 6 different winner in 2014. Checkered flag awaits, and the winner of the Michigan ARCA 200 is Austin Terrio. First win in his first start. How about this battle for 8th here? Austin Wayne Self all over the back of Grant Enfinger. Enfinger needs every point he can get, and he'll get the points for finishing 8th.
Good battle there. Austin Wayne Self early on got into the outside wall, but take nothing away from this young man here, Austin Terrio.
The last ARCA driver to win in his series debut is Alex Bowman at Madison in 2011. It's now Austin Terrio here at Michigan in 2014. And I'll say it again, Mason Mitchell's got to be saying, what have I got to do?
Exactly. It's going to be his 5th second place finish in his last 10 races.
Well, it's Austin Terrio today, Jim.
Indeed, and the crew chief and the guy who runs the operation in that shop every day in Concord, North Carolina is Billy Venturini. Coming out of that role of general manager overseeing things, you said, hey, I got to get to be a crew chief again. And you told me before the race, this is the setup you wanted. It certainly paid off.
Yeah, I got to be honest, we felt really confident with this car this week. And it took Austin a little bit to find his groove. And at the end of the race, we ran the fastest laps anyone ran all week. He put a whooping on him there at the end. Great race car driver, great job. I want to thank everyone that supports our team, Zaloop, Zaxby's, Jags, everyone for all the help they give us. And you know, it was really awesome to win a race, and I'm about ready to go back to retirement. If I come out and do this another 3 months from now, that'd be fun.
You only race here once a year, but Venturini Motorsports now, since 2010, has 3 victories, including last year and now this year. What do you say about that? What is it about this track that sits what you guys have in that shop?
I'm trying to figure out how we lost the one. I'm kidding. No, this really fits our setup here. Pocono, the intermediates have been really strong for us. We finally got our short track program over the last year really good, but the intermediates has been our bread and butter for a long time, and just great day for Venturini Motorsports. I'm proud of my whole team, all the crew chiefs that helped on this. Everyone helped the 4th car here. I mean, this was a throw together one deal, but everyone helped me, and I left the shop at midnight just before we loaded up, and it was kind of fun. It's kind of good to get dirty again. It was fun.
They got hard at it, and right after Pocono, they worked all day Monday, Tuesday, and got here, and now are going to Victory Lane for Venturini Motorsports.
Good day for them and a great day for Austin Terrio as he picks up his first career ARCA win. We'll be right back to hear from the winner after this. Coming up next, NASCAR truck racing heads to Illinois at the Gateway Motorsports Park with Camping World Truck Practice beginning after our race right here on Fox Sports 1 and streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Fox Sports is your home for complete NASCAR coverage all season long. Jim Trado's down there and all the fun and victory lane.
Indeed, he's looking at his crew saying, guys, how did this possibly happen? Austin Terrio tested 5 laps last week at Pocono to get used to these ARCA racing machines to race here at Michigan. As his crew chief said, it was a last-minute deal, but it's got to be a sweet one, Austin. John West-Townley, his teammate here for Venturini coming in. You have a look of disbelief, Austin. Why?
Well, I knew we had saved a little bit for the end of the race. Car ahead of us was going really hard at the beginning, and I just wanted to feel it out. I mean, this is all new to me, and I didn't want to tear up a good piece. You know, that's why we were conservative qualifying, and we just rode around for about half the race. And I figured on that last restart, he probably thought there was going to be oil up there and it was going to affect the race car. But I just said, hey, we're going for the win, and these guys deserve it. So I just held it wide open through 1 and 2, and we came out with the lead. So I'm really proud of all the Venturini Motorsports guys, and you know, couldn't be happier. I appreciate it.
Now, okay, here comes the kiss from Big Bill. This is a tradition from Andy Granatelli, fellow Chicagoan. I do have to ask you one more question on that restart. If you let go, Bill, thanks. You guys got close, real close on that restart. Did you have to come down, or was that your line?
Well, it was a little bit of a side draft. I probably did it too hard, but I mean, it was towards the end of the race, and we weren't in the corner. You know, nobody was going to get wrecked, and we came out with the lead, and that's all that counts.
Austin Terrio wins in his debut here in the ARCA Racing Series. Wendy, Gatorade's flowing here at Michigan.
And I'm with Mason Mitchell with his 5th second-place finish in the last 10 races. Mason, where exactly did the car go away after that restart?
First off, I got to thank everybody at Musselman's Applesauce and Thermal Technology Services. We had a really good Ford Fusion here today. Dominant car. Just last restart, you know, I forgot we were at a 2-mile track and we got door slammed going down the backstretch. So it's unfortunate we got raced that way. You know, we'll remember that one and take notes on that. So. But all in all, we had a good day. Crew prepared me a really awesome car. You know, I can't thank all the hard work we put into it. Big picture, though, I think we came out here at the points lead. Unfortunately, we didn't get the win, but you know, we'll have that sometimes.
All right, thanks to Mason Mitchell. That's 2 weeks in a row following back up from Pocono, where he also had a strong run at the end, guys.
Wendy, he led 65 laps, most of all drivers.
Ralph, this is what he was talking about. Got door slammed there. That's Austin was just side drafting a little bit. He said, I probably did it a little bit too hard. There you see the contact right there. And I think Mason Mitchell is contributing that to part of why his car wasn't quite as good after this.
Could have upset the car.
He moves those fenders around a little bit, you know, changes the downforce.
Doesn't take much. Well, it was enough to put him in victory lane. We'll be back. .892 miles per hour was the average speed for today's race. Fastest race ever here at Michigan for ARCA.
Wow. We were headed up towards an average speed of over 160 miles an hour till Justin Boston lost an engine. But what an outstanding run by Austin Terrio in his debut here in the ARCA Series.
I know another guy who won his first ever ARCA race. You.
Yes, a long time ago, though.
Good for you.
Will Kimmel, nice solid run for him in 6th. Frank Kimmel is uncle in 7th.
Justin Boston had a good day going, ended up in a bad way, 21st, and a lot of frustration.
Top 15 finishes for Thomas Prater and Ron Cox, both cars out of the same team.
Looking back through the rest of the field, Tom O'Leary and Wayne Peterson rounding out the 26-car field here today. Back downstairs we go. Here's Wendy.
And I'm with John West-Townley, who comes home 4th today here at Michigan. John, an exciting weekend for you because you guys had to go to a backup car last minute, but the first laps were the green flag. Sum up the race for you.
Well, I mean, it was all day. You know, it was a pretty strong car. I mean, all things considered. I mean, you know, at the end of the day, it was a backup. Sadly, wasn't the primary. I wish we could have raced it, but top 5, good effort for the Venturina team. I got to thank Zaxby's and congratulate my teammate, 66, Austin. He did a great job. Just can't wait for the next one. I mean, I think we're going to Elko next. I think that's right, in the ARCA series, and be racing the truck series tomorrow night. So really excited.
The last couple of weeks you've had Brad Parrott as your crew chief. That's been a good experience for you. Talk about what that challenge has been.
Well, I mean, Brad, we have some history, so we know each other pretty well. So I think that helps. Already having some chemistry, built up with him coming over. I think it put us one step ahead. So we'll keep on. We'll keep on keeping on, I guess, and hopefully we can get us a win next time.
All right, safe travels to Gateway. John West Townley coming home 4th is headed to Gateway for the Truck Series race. Jim Trado.
And the driver finished ahead of him and continues to show massive improvements here in a limited schedule in the ARCA Racing Series. Just his 6th race. Let's check in with the grandson first here. Justin, great run today at Michigan. How were you able to adapt? You talked about not being comfortable before the race. How did it come to you during the race?
I just pretty much figured I'd better man up and go. That was the biggest thing. Our Havico sales forward was good all day. From the drop of the green flag, I feel like we could have won it. Honestly, it was a little bit of my error there on that last restart. But all in all, it was a good day, I feel like.
Now, when it comes to comfortability at these speeds, does Grandpa help you at all?
Yeah, he tries to keep me calm and cool and, give me as many pointers as he can. And then he tells me to just drive it.
And Donnie Allison, I asked you where you were during the race. We tried to find you, the grandfather of Justin here. You've had a lot of laps here. What did you see in this young man today, and where did you watch the race?
Well, I was right up on top of the suites in the right inside the pit road here, and I watched the race from the same place the whole time, the whole day. And in fact, I watched practice from there too. But Justin, he's got it. I mean, everybody's looking for it, but he's got it. And I've said that all the time. And Howard and the team BCR has given him a good car. His car at the end of the race was extremely good, and he came around. And he's never run anything like this before, and so I know he can do it. I mean, I have all the confidence in the world in him, and we got to get things a little better maybe, but he'll work on that just like during the race. The last 6 or 8 laps of the race, he ran as good as he ran all day, and you can't ask for anything more than that.
Under the keen eye, the speed of the Allison family continues here with Justin. A great top 5 finish for the 2nd week in a row, guys.
Yeah, and Jim, if he keeps going the way he's going, there will be another Allison in NASCAR's Cup Division soon. Only 2 cautions today, matched the fewest ever here in Michigan. They're still celebrating in Victory Lane. We've got a little bit more to do when we come back. Victory Lane winding down. Let's show you how Terrio got there. Let's go back and take a look at the highlights from today's race. Michigan ARCA 200.
Early on, Austin himself gets high. About lap number 2, gets into the outside wall. Gonna have a pretty massive tire up there. Fortunately got a caution flag right here when the 97 of Tom O'Leary loses an engine.
First caution of only 2 today. We said pit road, you couldn't have any mistakes. A lot of guys did.
All sorts of problems. Tires running away. Cars not being able to get the jack underneath them like Mason Mitchell's right here. That cost him the lead. Justin Boston stalled his car. Was not able to refire. Brad Smith pulled in front of Cody Coughlin. Grant Enfiger's not able to get the right front tire off. Problems there. Just about almost everybody had problems on pit road on this green flag pit stop.
Second caution was because of Boston losing his engine right in front of the leader, Mason Mitchell, at the time.
Mason Mitchell had dominated this race, lost the lead on his pit stop. He lost it to that young man right there in the 66. This is the restart. Right after the restart, trying to side draft, they make contact. Terrio takes the lead and will not relinquish it.
Wins his first ever ARCA race and his first ever ARCA start. And Mitchell says he'll remember the rub down the back straightaway. Here's Wendy with more.
And I am with Spencer Gallagher, who comes home 5th here at Michigan Speedway after overcoming problems on pit road and even problems the last few laps, Spencer.
Yeah, that was a pretty interesting race for our GMS racing team. But, you know, at the end of the day, we got our Legion Travel Chevy home in P5. And frankly, we were running the top 3, so I'm just a little disappointed in myself that I wasn't able to get it up further. But late in the run, we had a small issue. And I got to find out that they don't go so fast when they're running on 6 cylinders for the last 10 laps. So, hey, you know, considering that what could have been, I'll take this as a result.
Now, what are you able to do to move on throughout the rest of the year and gather a good points day, even though the engine was starting to go south?
Well, the biggest thing I was doing through the last 10 laps or so, just to preserve this thing, I was clutching it and actually shutting it down in the center of the corner. I would fire it and hit it out. But as far as the rest of the year goes, we're going to be going on to our next ARCA race at Elko. So I'm really looking forward to that. We were actually really good there last year. So look forward to hitting up that tiny little place and seeing what we can do.
And we look forward to those guys hitting Elko Speedway. Jim Trado?
And a driver who was coming into this race with high hopes with a lot of changes on the race car. He finished 8th with last week at Pocono. The car was tight. Today you had a condition early on. You guys said, let's make a change. How did that alter your strategy, Enfinger, when you guys came to pitting way early in the race?
You know, that was a little bit of pit strategy by our crew chief, Kelly Kopsky. So we knew we had to do something a little bit different, but we made a lot of gains from last week. I know the finish is the same, but the car is a lot better. So a little disappointed. We had this race circled. Our owners, Howard and Paula Bixman, are from the Michigan area. K-Site Motor Honey, Stanley Industries, Franklin Fasteners, all those guys are from right here in Michigan. So hoping to have a little bit better finish for them, but happy we did make some gains. We just we made a few mistakes too. So we'll regroup and we'll make this better. So pretty excited about going to Elko next week.
Tight point battle. Did that change your strategy coming in, knowing how well Mason qualified? And it was a 5-point lead at the drop of the green.
You know, I don't think it changed our strategy. We knew overall to win the race, we had to be on a little bit different strategy. So, you know, just kind of is what it is. I don't think it really hurt us. We just we made some other mistakes we got to correct. So we'll regroup, and like I said, we'll go get them at Elko.
That's Grant Enfinger finishing 8th here today.
They'll be in Elko June 21st, and here's what the points are going to look like when they get there. Mitchell moves up 1. He's got 30 points up on Grant Enfinger, and Kimmel hanging in there.
Remember, Grant Enfinger won the first 3 races of the year, so this is the first time anybody other than Grant Enfinger has been up in the point lead. But John West Townley is going to make up a little ground on Grant Enfinger as well as Frank Kimmel.
All right, we're going to come right back here to Michigan. A little bit more to show you before we're all done. Right after us here on Fox Sports 1, it's NASCAR Truck Series practice from Gateway. That'll be right after us. You know, we're moving on, but there's another gentleman whose career is coming to a close here in Michigan.
Yeah, the track operations manager, Barry Gibson. He dates back to when Roger Penske bought this racetrack back in the early 70s. He's been here ever since, and as you mentioned, his time's winding down. So I want to tell him thank you for what all he's done here at Michigan International Speedway.
Well, Austin Theriault is the winner here at Michigan. Twilight Racing wrapping up. Kimmel talking things over. Brad Keselowski, as they maybe give him a tip or two about what to expect on Sunday.
A good run again for Frank Kimmel. Solid in the top 10 and moving up that point ladder.
Well, it was a fun day at a Twilight race here at Michigan. This series will move on next to Elko, Minnesota, June 21st. If you're in the area, come on out and check out the races.
2-mile high-speed racetrack, 3/8 bull ring at Elko.
For Wendy Venturini, Jim Trado, Phil Parsons, I'm Ralph Sheen. That'll close out our day here. It's been a good one at Michigan International Speedway. Hope you've enjoyed all the action. So Michigan ARCA 200 comes to a close, and Austin Theriault in his first ever ARCA race takes the win. We head now to Gateway for NASCAR track practice. Here's Rick Allen.